If you've tried repeating positive words in the mirror but still feel anxious, you're missing the actual psychological mechanism behind affirmations. To actually lower anxiety and attract wealth, we need to bypass your conscious mind entirely. We're going to break down an exact step-by-step method to correctly reprogram your subconscious. To begin this protocol, you need 3 physical prerequisites: 5 minutes of uninterrupted time, a completely quiet space, and a calendar. You must treat this routine as a rigid, tracked 21-day experiment. This structure separates merely wishing for change from actively forging new cognitive behaviors. Step 1 is the physical preparation. Find your undisturbed location and settle into a loose, relaxed sitting or lying posture. Let your body go completely limp. Begin taking slow, deep breaths. With every exhalation, consciously force the tension out of your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. Tie a cognitive visualization to this breathing rhythm. Picture confidence entering your body on the inhale and all physical stress flushing out on the exhale. This physical relaxation drops your brain into an alpha or theta state, effectively lowering your conscious mental defenses. Skipping this physical primer is the primary reason self-help routines fail. A stressed, tense mind will actively repel new, positive programming. The most common point of failure is mindlessly reciting phrases without attaching any emotional weight or visualization to them. This equation shows the core formula required: words plus imagination plus emotion equals reprogramming. The subconscious cannot process abstract words. It only stores concepts it can visually picture as reality right now. Emotion is the catalyst. Force a physical smile to close that completed loop. Emotion is the actual native language of the subconscious mind. The spoken words are merely the vehicle used to deliver that emotion. We apply this formula in 2 phases. The objective of the morning protocol is to deliberately manufacture energy and gratitude the moment your brain wakes up. This checklist outlines the specific morning scripts. Focus on expressing gratitude for the day, affirming your physical energy, and declaring your self-belief as a champion. Phase 2 is the night protocol. The drowsy, pre-sleep mental state is uniquely vulnerable and highly receptive to instructions for wealth and release. Before speaking any instructions, you must complete a mandatory prerequisite. Actively and mentally forgive anyone who caused you tension that day to clear out any mental blockers before sleeping. Looking at this night protocol, the nighttime scripts are centered on financial freedom, continuous wealth flow, and attracting positive outcomes into your life. Bracketing your day with these 2 distinct, targeted protocols creates a continuous 24-hour loop of subconscious programming that operates even while you are asleep. Take out your calendar right now and physically mark today's date. This locks in the start of your timeline. Over the next 3 weeks, monitor yourself for specific behavioral changes. Look for a calmer reaction to stressful situations, a brighter facial demeanor, and a more resilient daily attitude. That 21-day threshold is not an arbitrary number. It is the minimum biological time required to override old patterns and form a new, permanent neural pathway. By learning these steps and visualizing the process today, you have officially completed day 1 of the challenge. You now possess a customized, twice-a-day psychological system designed to control anxiety and pull success toward you. Head down to the comments section and type Day 1 completed, along with today's date, to create a public, written commitment contract. Make sure to subscribe and return to this material daily to ensure the continuity of your experiment. Acquiring this instructional tool is only the beginning. The actual transformation of your life now relies entirely on your strict daily execution of the protocol. We spend an enormous amount of our lives standing at the edge of decisions, entirely paralyzed. We hesitate, we overplan, and we delay because we are terrified of making a mistake and permanently ruining our trajectory. This chart visualizes our anxiety. A perfectly straight, upward trending line represents what society tells us success looks like. But because we expect this flawless trajectory, we refuse to start anything meaningful unless we guarantee a frictionless outcome. We stay exactly where we are. By dedicating all our energy to pursuing a completely error-free life, we guarantee the one thing we were trying to avoid, achieving absolutely nothing. The trap starts with how we interpret our own biology. We are conditioned to believe that fear is a built-in evolutionary warning sign, a siren telling us that we are doing something wrong and need to stop immediately. But the Stoic philosophers understood a critical flaw in human programming. As Seneca observed, we suffer far more often in our imagination than we do in reality. The scenarios we dread are usually entirely fictional. Facing the unknown causes a spike of anxiety, but that discomfort is entirely temporary. What is permanent and deeply agonizing is the weight of reaching the end of your life while still bearing an untold story inside of you. Courage has never meant the absence of fear. Courage is simply making the quiet, rational decision that your objective is more important than the anxiety standing in front of it. Feeling afraid is not a signal to retreat. It is the mandatory entry fee required to begin any worthwhile endeavor. Our second major hurdle is the belief that failure is the polar opposite of success. In reality, failure is a required, integrated mechanism within the process of achieving success. You cannot extract one from the other without breaking the entire engine. A setback is a bruise, not a tattoo. A bruise is a temporary injury that heals and strengthens. A tattoo is a permanent mark on your identity. We mistake the former for the latter. Thomas Edison produced thousands of early prototypes that produced no light. He didn't view a single one of those attempts as a defeat. He viewed them as a necessary method of elimination. Finding 10,000 ways that do not work isn't a string of tragedies. It is a highly aggressive, incredibly valuable form of data collection. Failure is the only reliable feedback mechanism available to actually measure our progress. Without it, we are just guessing. The reason we avoid that feedback loop is due to a third myth, the idea that experiencing a failure means the game is permanently over, an objective loss. To neutralize the emotional devastation of a misstep, you must apply non-resistance, the practice of separating an event from your emotional judgment of it. When something goes wrong, the human mind instinctively fights against the outcome. We loudly complain, we aggressively deny, and we panic. All of that resistance drains the critical mental energy we desperately need to recover. By applying non-judgment, you disarm the emotional power of the outcome. A thinker sees their own actions as experiments, and the results, good or bad, are simply answers. A perceived tragedy becomes a neutral, usable data point. People who learn from their mistakes do so through objective observation. Those who constantly repeat the same mistakes do so because their ego refuses to accept reality. A setback only transforms into a true, fatal failure at the exact moment we attach a negative label to it and refuse to adapt. The final myth we cling to is that success is a static destination. We think it's a permanent state of being that you arrive at, unpack your bags, and never leave. Both success and failure are highly temporary, fleeting states. As Winston Churchill noted, success is not final, and failure is not fatal. The conditions of life are always changing. The ultimate metric of a well-lived life isn't a pristine track record. It is the sheer courage and resilience to continue operating, even after taking a massive hit. There is no surefire formula for success, but the only guaranteed formula for failure is trying to please everybody, avoiding all risks, and playing it completely safe. When you shift your locus of control inward, you strip the outside world of its power. Public opinion and external events lose their ability to dictate your happiness. There is absolute futility in wasting your time trying to force impossible situations. You cannot spend your life beating on a wall, hoping to magically transform it into a door. You have to expect the fall. You have to embrace the struggle, leave the safety of your comfort zone, and proactively step into the unknown. Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. Because at the end of the day, 80% of success is simply showing up, despite the anxiety of what might happen. Stop overanalyzing the path. Step into the arena. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.